Welcome to Intersection Chats. Today we are going to talk about personal brand story and video podcasting. I am delighted to have here today to Rachel. Thank you for accepting this invitation.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
So, for those who don't know me, I am Reme Mancera, a personal brand story strategist, and I will let Rachel to introduce yourself, please.
So, I am a video podcast and video marketing agency of Your Video Team. I co run the business with my husband, Ben, and we specialize in video repurposing content to turn videos into your entire marketing ecosystem.
Nice. So let's dive into the topic. And in your experience, what is the connection between personal brand story and video podcasts?
Well, the connection there is about people buying from people. So by you turning up and showcasing you as your brand, which we do through the video podcasting, people understand you, your values, your mission, your goals. They connect with that. And then really that's what they want to buy with for because of you, not necessarily because of the product or service that you're selling. That ends up kind of being a bonus to actually just loving your energy, loving your values, and being like, I want to support this business. How can I make that fit with mine?
Mm, yeah, I totally agree on that. And I feel like, especially when you are a guest, you have usually like the opportunities to talk about your story and
Mhm.
such. And then when you are the host, sometimes that's an angle that some people like not misuse, but it's like it's missing an opportunity to use it in a different way. Where, as you
Yeah.
say, it's a for me, it's a great way to build that connection with the audience and with your potential clients, and it's also a way to show like what is the context about why you do what you do and why it's important to you to work with a specific group of people around specific problem or needs. So there is reasons why you move forward to a certain area or other, and I feel like that bringing that context is a great way for make us stand out in the sense of, oh, people can remember why, and it's a way also to have those touch points in their mind of, okay, oh, I remember that they mentioned this story and that's why they are doing this thing that they do. So I feel it's a great opportunity to stand out and also to build that connection, and of course a way to show that you are trustworthy. I feel
Yeah.
like video podcast is a platform, a channel that can bring that part of building trust, because people can see you somehow, they can feel you, and at the same time, if you bring your personal brand story to the content that you are sharing, is that like adding that layer of trust building through the stories as well.
Absolutely. I was a guest on Melita Campbell's podcast, and from that we spoke about my story, so how I used to be a police officer. And Melita remembered that story. So when she then went networking and was at an event where she was talking to a group of people, there was a lady there who has just left the police in the last year. And from that, she said, oh, you've left the police and you've gone into business. I know someone else has done that. Let me introduce you. She's introduced us both. And then at Atomicon last week, we actually met up and then got chatting, and we like got on like a house on fire because we had this connection that was the same. It was nothing to do with what we do as a service, as a job, but from there our discussions have been like, what do you do? She does funnels and systems. We do video podcasting. We're like, we need that in our business. So all of a sudden, a connection that was me and personal and my personal brand became something that has already evolved into a business friendship, but also then a potential collaboration of work. And that's why it's so important to tell your story and be your version of your brand as well.
Mm. Yeah, and I love that story of that point of connection, because, as you say, these are, and some people, especially around networking, they tend to think about if they are going to get a client. And it's like there are so much opportunities, so much potential collaborations. And even if you didn't get to collab directly, because you know each other, you know about your background, and also like you have learned about what you do now, it's like it's easier for her to remember you when someone else is like, oh, I need someone helping with video.
Yeah.
Podcasting is like, okay, your name, your company will came to mind. And this idea of how we are top of mind, or we can stand out in someone's minds, like this idea of how people position us. And for us, sometimes we are talking all this time about the same things. And I know for you that, yeah, this is a big topic. You, every time that I have seen you, like, this is your topic, so you are talking about that. So in my mind, you are positioned there. And the same with me. I am all the time talking about personal brand story, about my story connector framework. So people tend to connect storytelling and strategic storytelling with me.
Yeah.
Of course, I am repeating all the time the topic. So it's
And this is
also
it,
a way
right?
to make it easier for them.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, we have it all the time when we work with clients of ours. They're like, "But I've said that already." And it's like, "Okay, you've said it once, but how many times do you go networking and you say the same thing to 5 people in that room, and then next week you go to a different networking and you say the same 5 things again?" And we're like, "It doesn't matter how many times you say it. You don't know when it's going to either when it's that person's first time hearing it, or when it's going to land in a way that someone goes, I get it now. I need to hear that.
Mm,
So like you say, it's like showing up as you all the time, authentically in the way that, I'm loud. I can be, I'm really good at getting everyone talking and getting going. So I show up like that. Um, but then also always putting across myself and talking about my expertise. So the question I ask people is not what you do, is what struggle do you have in business right now? And you have to remember it's that when it's like networking as well, that it's never the people in the room, it's the 10 people that person knows. So again, like how many times Melita was a prime example. How many times have you had it where you're interviewing someone, you're talking to someone, and you're like, I know the person that can help you. Uh, and it's that side of things, and that's what video can do for you as well. Is all the time I'm talking about what we do, what video can do for you. Someone will hear this and go, I get it. I need to hear that. But I'm talking to you, Remy, but actually I'm talking to, the 100, 1,000 people that are viewing this and going, oh, okay. And someone might not see this for another 2 years. It's evergreen content. Like, I might have I might have, finished banging my drum about that thing right now, but someone hears it and goes, I need that in my life now. And then they get
mm,
in touch. Like, it's evergreen content. So just keep banging that same drum and don't worry about how
yeah.
many times you repeat yourself.
Yeah, and this idea of repeating, I feel like you need to repeat yourself. This is like a need. And for you, it's maybe the thousandth time that you're saying, but for that person, it's the first time or the
Yeah.
10th time that you're listening to this, and that's okay. And one of the things that I do, and I would love to know your thoughts, to help my clients around repetition is like, first of all, I don't look for one story. I help them to identify 10 meaningful moments from their journey. So, and each of them is connected to a key factor, a differentiator of their offer. So that way they have a set of stories. It's not just one way. And then, even when you share the same story, you can share in different angles. You can start with the differentiation and then move to the story. You can start in the middle of the story. You can move from a little detail that trigger the story and then go to the, so you can move the narrative angles, so
Yeah.
you are sharing the same story in different ways. And also how important it is that we have these concepts as a brand. There is certain ideas that you are repeating over and over, and it's like how you use storytelling to convey that. For example, when you are helping someone with a video podcast, how there are certain topics that they will treat and they will repeat and they will bring again to the episodes. So I don't know if you have also some guidelines that you help your clients with this idea of, okay, how you talk about the same topics in a way that you don't get bored, because people maybe it's the first time, but you kind of can get bored.
Yeah, I mean, when we're starting out in business, a lot of the ways you will tell that story and tell the success of something is by what you've done and what you've seen. Because you normally, when it comes to small businesses who are growing, you are your first client. So ultimately, you've seen it work, and now you're like, oh my gosh, this is brilliant. I love doing it. So then then you start working with people and you actually use those skills on other people. So ultimately, the message of like us doing video podcast and seeing the results is the same story. The reason we got into it is because we failed so badly at it ourselves when we very first started. Couldn't figure out why we weren't the next Stephen Bartlett and multimillionaires. So we tell that story. But if I know that my audience has heard that story before, I will then tell the same story, but as a case study. So, how one of my clients had the experience with their podcast when they introduced it. So, we have a client who 10x'd her viewership and she 3x'd her average spend from a client. We have another client who ultimately has just shown up all the time, and through that consistent content has built them an audience that is committed to them and is following them, and so it's the same story but with a case study as to a client. So, and that might land differently, because some people will start a podcast for ego, some people will start a podcast because they want to make more sales, and some will start it because they want to build more of an audience. So again, how the story is told and with what message that is underlined is where it's going to land differently with different people. So it's the same story. We do podcasting, but whether it's from failure to success, from 0 views to 10x in your views, or 0 audience, to 5,000 audience, ultimately what message, what lands is going to be different depending on the person who's listening.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And also the factor of building, like creating this, projecting this authority, right? It's like you as a thought leader, as a business owner. Um, First of all, I agree on the idea of what is your goal. That's like, okay, starting there. What is the goal?
Yeah.
And if the goal is like, yeah, projecting this authority so people trust you for hiring you for your services or what you have to offer, is like, I feel like even through video podcasts and video marketing, there is this aspect of the authority that you project, the authority that people perceive, but also the inner authority. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like when you get to do video, is like there is a level of inner authority of being like able to articulate your thoughts, to share your ideas through this format of video. And when you get to see results and how this impacting people in your audience and the kind of question that you get, all of that, I feel like also a way to build that inner authority, self-trust.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, when we're starting business, how much does imposter syndrome start? Right. So when we started building our studios that we've got in Kent, no one had studios. There were no other studios around. I did my research. There was none. Then as soon as we launched and opened, the algorithm decided to tell me that every other person has a studio to rent. And I get it. It's because the algorithm saw what was on mine because I was sharing it and went, oh, you're looking for a studio. Here, have one, have another one, have another. And I went, oh my God, what have I done? Like, we've made a mistake. We're overwhelmed with studios. But the more I now stand up and talk about it, the more I can talk about why ours are different, what And it's not to say theirs aren't good, because there are some phenomenal studios out there. But again, what are you looking for? What are you delivering in your business? And this is what people will see from you talking about it. How many times you read a website and goes, "We're the best because we love our customers the best," and you think, yeah, so does every other person. But do you feel that passion when you read it? Do you really, does it really get hold of you? Whereas I'd like to think, like, me talking about it, people can feel my excitement. They can see it, they can hear it, all of those things. And that's what video can do for you, and audio as well. Like, this isn't, we love video, of course we do, but even the audio side, like, talk about it and get it out, because you will start to, you feel that passion. The more I talk about it, the more I feel it, and then I'm like, I do know my stuff, I do know what I'm talking about. And people see that, and then that opens up more bookings for me, because now we're speaking on stages, more podcasts, all of those things. I show up to network, I know what I'm talking about online and in person. That imposter syndrome, don't get me wrong, still gives me a little nudge every now and then and reminds me, are you sure? But I am sure. I know what I'm talking about. And the reason people work with me is not because we're a video podcast studio that is brilliant at repurposing content, even though we are, is because I have that passion and I show that passion with everything we do. And so does Ben. And that's what people love. They're like, I want to be in with you because look how much you love us.
Yeah, because one of the things is like when you hear someone that gets excited talking about what they do, is like, oh yeah, I want this person
Yeah.
to work with me. And as you said, like there are other people doing in a different way. That's why for me it's so important to define what is your unique angle and how that's related to your own story. Because there are people that will go with more like an innovative approach, or people that will go more into the, okay, I want to do this, but for me it's really important that the people that I help, for example, I have a client that she is a life coach, and for her it was really important that her clients question everything, even what she said. So she used her story, past story, unrelated, because she was working as a scientific in a lab, so totally unrelated. She
Yeah.
used one of the stories that from there to highlight this idea of you can question everything, even things that are in a protocol, writing down, you can question that. So question everything. So thinking about what is our unique approach and how we do things is a great way to help people understand, okay, what is important for this person, how this person approach the same thing. Because even if we are doing something similar to others, we have a different angle. For example,
Yeah.
for me, it's like I felt this overwhelmed idea of, oh, you need to share your story, and feeling that I don't have an epic story, I don't know what I am going to share. And from there it's like, instead of looking for this big thing, let's split and make it like more digestible parts. And also this strategic point of view, because for me, if I know the reason why I'm sharing story, it makes sense. Otherwise it's like, how this is relevant for my audience and my business. So to me, there need to be a connection with
Yeah.
the offering. Why? Because that's how my brains work. It's like, okay, there is a reason you can share this story because of that reason. And it turned out that it's helpful for other people as well. But there are other people that they want a formula with the blanks so they can fill it out, and they want another thing. And that's totally okay. But I am another person. I
Yeah.
am not, my approach is not the right one for them. So it's good that I talk about that, because then they can see, oh yeah, Remy is not the one for me, I need to find someone else, and that's okay.
Yeah, we're exactly the same. So I talk to people, like when I have discovery calls with people and we talk through what they're looking for. I say to them, like, have you spoken to anyone else? Some of them will be like, oh, we've had a couple of chats. Others are like, no, you're the first person. I'm like, okay, go away and talk to more people. And they're like, what? I'm like, I'm literally telling you now, go and speak to more people, because you have to want to work with us, not need to.
Mm.
Because if there's a need there, there's an expectation that can't always be filled. And so I want you to want to work with us, not feel you have to. And
Mm,
that's, but it also works in reverse, right? Like we've made the mistake where we've taken on clients in desperation of needing to make, the cash flow match or something like
mm,
that. And it's been hard work. And I've questioned my job and like, oh
mm,
God, like, why am I doing this? But ultimately, that was an error on my part. So I have turned away people and said, look, I'm really sorry. I don't think we're going to be able to deliver what you're going to want to deliver in the way you want it delivered. So for that reason, we're going to pull our name out. But what I am going to do is guide you to this person and that person. So I'll tell you
mm.
other people who work differently to what we do. They're still brilliant. And I'd
Yeah.
also argue video isn't for everyone. I know,
Hmm.
like, what's she saying? She's a video podcaster, but it's not.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Like, do what you love to do. Trust
Mm.
if you're going to want to do it and you want to do video, then trust that the love will come. You'll feel that passion from us and we'll get you loving it. And we'll put you at ease through it all as well. Like we'll make it fun. But yeah, like you said, like there are other people out there. It's okay to say no. Excuse me. It's okay to say no to people and it's okay to have no's. You're still
Yeah.
brilliant.
And this like getting space to work with the people that you actually will like work really well, and you will get the better results, and it's going to be as easy as possible for everyone involved, and as effective as possible as well. So yeah, totally, I agree on that. And this idea of how through video, of course you can do that through writing, but I feel like there is an element that you can convey the emotions that the person will feel when working with you. And even the podcast is also, the audio is also good to get that feeling, but I feel like seeing the person and how I move a lot my hands, for example, or how it's like, I don't know, you kind of feel it more real, like if you are in front of the person. And I work with people from all over the world, so video is the way that I communicate with them, that I do my work through video calls. So most
Yeah.
of my clients I didn't get to meet them in person. So for me, having the video experience is really important, because I get to see if they are silenced, but I can see that they are thinking about. I can have a question and I can see their face reaction. So all of that is giving a lot of information for you to do the work of, in my case, to help them explore their stories, and finding those elements that they want to share. And I do a work that is really like profound, like really deep, because we are exploring their lives. So there are big pivotal moments that are all the highs and all the lows, so all of that. So it's really, I need to create a space where we can see each other and we can talk about what is going on in a way that feels safe for
Yeah.
them to open up about that. And to me, having the opportunity to do that through a video call, that experience is something that bring a lot of the part of the emotions, the reading their faces and all that. And I feel like when I am a consumer or someone listening to someone, watching someone, I have that experience as well. That's why I feel like I listen, I watch video podcasts that sometimes it's like, yeah, but they are not showing like graphics or anything. It's just the people talking. Yeah, but I enjoy the experience of seeing their reactions and how they interact with each other.
Yeah.
And that is like a different experience from the audio. And I love podcasts, audio podcasts, because they are so convenient. You go anywhere and you can listen to that.
This is it.
Um, but there are a different layer of in the experience when you are watching a video podcast, to me.
Yeah, yeah, there is. Like you say, is you're connecting to them. Like last year for 2025, I conducted 266 interviews across the
Wow.
year, and each one of those is different. each one holds a different emotion, a different story, a, a different feeling that will sort of bubble in you. And like you say, is would I, as a person, am not good at putting that down in a written format to express that story that I've had with that person. And so video is the way that I do it. And I now have people come up to me who are like, "Oh my gosh, hi Rachel, like I loved your interview with so and so." And I'm like, they don't know me. Um, but that story resonated with them and they're grateful that they heard it and that someone opened that door for them because it made them feel connected, feel seen, feel heard, and know that they can do what they want to do, and it empowers them. And I believe video can do that. You say about that you watch podcasts. I mean, YouTube in 2024 was the second most watched TV channel, and I say that in inverted commas because do you class YouTube as TV? But it was rated the second under BBC
Mhm.
in the UK. So that shows like it beat ITV, Channel 4, Channel 5, all Sky channels. Like it was the second most watched because a lot of people are watching podcasts. And
Mm.
then in last year, 2025, it has now beaten all streaming platforms, YouTube. So it's beaten Netflix, it's beaten Disney Plus, Amazon Prime. People want to see, they want to build a connection. And since COVID, everyone was like, "Oh, I want to get out and see people for real." We absolutely do. But we want that connection all the time now. And this is what, you know, video calls and video, like, I couldn't imagine my life without a video call. I'm the same as you. Like, if I'm having a call with a client, I'm like, "I'll send you a Google Meet." They're like, "Don't you just talk on the phone?" I'm like, ugh, no, I want to see you. I want you to feel my passion. I want to feel yours. Because again, like people will say something they think they have to say, but when you look at their face, it doesn't quite align. And it's at those moments you go, "So do you want to do this?" And you can dive deeper and you can feel that and go, "But do you want to create a video? Do you want to tell your story? Are you happy?" Because again, like, are you happy and comfortable telling your story? Because
Mm.
we're in a world where we're told what to do a lot, but that doesn't mean you have to do it. Like, come on. Yeah, the rest of the world's out there making shorts and, going viral. But if you don't want to, don't do it. Like, if,
Yeah.
like, why do it? We don't do viral content because ultimately I don't like it. I want real content. I want real people. It's what I'm about. So, like, if you're going to come to us and say, "Right, I want to go viral next week and I want to hit all these trends," I'm going to go, "Amazing. We're not the people." But I can tell you 2, 3 other videographers that specialize in that content. But
Mm.
it's not us. We're about relationship building through video content.
Mm. Yeah. And I feel there it's also this idea of how you can use, especially I love long form content as the one receiving it, because that doesn't mean that I am watching that in a seat. I am sometimes it's a video interview of, I don't know, 1 hour and a half, and I watch in 3 parts, and that's totally okay
Yeah.
for me. And I feel like there is a lot of this idea of, yeah, the attention span is limited and all that. Is like always go back to analyze what you do, because no matter what everyone is telling me, of course I consume a lot of short form content that mostly I don't remember. But when I go to an interview that is a long form, and I remember going back and it's, yeah, I was watching this, I want to continue watching this. Is more impactful to me than this other short form. And that doesn't mean that I can find someone in a short form and then follow with them and maybe binge a lot of their content. that there is different strategies, different ways. But what I always like to invite people is to think how they consume content, and if it's real that they are not consuming long form, because
Yeah.
we are listening a lot of this message of, yeah, you need to only focus on this, and it's like, with a strategy, what is your goal, why you want to do this in that way. And using storytelling and using your personal stories through your content, through the video format that you are doing, I feel is a great way to build that connection and to make people remember you, stand out. So again, if you feel uncomfortable because you feel that you need to share everything and you feel comfortable to that, look for ways that make sense for you. For example, I am a really private person, so for me that's really important when I work with people, that okay, you are the one in control, you are the one deciding the level of detail, because you can share something in a superficial level or you can go really into the details, but you are the one deciding that. And then it's like how that is relevant for your offer, how that is relevant for your audience, and how to make it in a way that makes sense for you and you get comfortable. And it's a practice. It's not that maybe some people are natural, but most of the people, they are just getting better through the practice.
Yeah. And and this is it, right? Is find ways to make video comfortable. So one of the offerings that I have with people is that we jump on an hour-long call and I interview them. And it's
Mm.
basically an elongated networking opportunity. And I talk to them and I say, right, well, who's your audience? What are your frequently asked questions? All of that. And we have a conversation, but I record that and then I get the transcript and I turn it into a document that tells you how much content you can make based on an hour long discussion. Now, when I deliver this to people, I the pages and pages, I always feel bad when I hand them the document afterwards, because I did one and it was like 90 pages. And I was like, I'm really sorry. There's a lot of content we got from our conversation. She was like, this is cool. I'm done for like the next 6 months. So I probably won't hear from her for another 5 months. But this is it now. She's got that confidence to walk away and say, I do know all this stuff. Look at
Yeah.
all this content I'm going to make. But whether she turns up to deliver that on video or whether she turns it into posts or stories, newsletters, however, she's got the content. And sometimes just getting over that first bit is all you need. I also give them the call afterwards. So like this, I'm going to steal our conversation. I'm going to chop this up into shorts and stuff for me because my knowledge has come out on it, right? So I go, here's the call, make that into something as well. It's how you feel comfortable. So if you feel comfortable talking to someone on a one-on-one level, dial into that Google Meet or that Zoom chat, however you do it, and just, I was almost swore then, it's just talk it through. I was going to say shoot the,
You-
but just talk it through. And because that's okay. And you'll be surprised how much content will come out. The other beauty, and again, I say, I know I'm drumming on about video. It's my job, right? But you're a brand storyteller. So I could tell you my story, and that's amazing. But what I've done subtly today is bring my brand into my video as well. So actually, we're at a client's place today. We're shooting their podcast this afternoon. So I've gone and commandeered an area of their house. But I've rocked up. Oh, hello. Yeah.
yeah.
Phone's going. But I've rocked up with orange because orange is my brand.
Mm. Mm.
I've got my orange trousers on. So, bring your brand into your videos as well, because it's those subtle things that people will see. If I'm at my studio, I would have had Lego behind me, probably a little bit
Mm.
of Disney as well, because that's who I am. Ben always has the DeLorean because he's a weird Back to the Future fan. But do you know what it does? It gets people talking. And some people
Yes.
reach out to me just because I've got 2 infinity tattooed on my arm. They're like, what like, what's that from Toy Story? I'm like, yeah, biggest Toy Story. We'll strike up a conversation about Disney, and next thing we're talking about business and da da da, and it just leads into it. And all of a sudden, I've got a client just because I got a Disney tattoo on my arm or my leg. So
Mm,
bring your brand
yes.
into your videos as well.
Yeah, I love that you bring this because to me, the story connectors and the personal brand story is ways to bring conversations. For me,
Hmm.
ultimately, you want your potential clients to talk to you in the way that you put for them to talk to you. But okay, in which channel you want or whatever, but it's like what I want is my potential clients to talk to me, have a conversation. So how you can use those elements from your story, from the things that you like, from the angle that you have for your business as a way to spark a conversation.
Yeah.
And for example, for me, books are a big thing for me, has been since I was a child. One of my own stories is how I got super excited when they opened the first public library in my neighborhood, because I was like, I am going to read all these stories and exploring all these characters' lives. And then also nature. So I'm lucky enough that this plant is still surviving. And it's like I
Oh,
love
it's a
to.
real one. See, all mine would be fake because I have to dust mine. I don't have to do anything else but dust them.
So it's like for me, nature is a way to take care of myself and reconnect and all that. So nature is a big part of my brand as a way to connect with myself and how small and big and marvelous we are. And so yeah, it's like how you can bring visual elements that
Mm.
are connected to your stories, that are connected to your values, that are connected, that are like these touch points that can bring a conversation and can help you to connect with someone else.
Yeah, I believe when we met doing a video networking, and I had my big brand background, which is a comic book themed, bright orange, teals, and purple, which are all our brand colors. And again, that is always a talking point for everyone. They're like, "Oh my god, I love your background." And I'm like, "Thanks."
Mm.
They're like, "Very comic book." Yep, our branding is comic book themed. We are like absolute nerds and geeks. That's what we do. So much so we named our children after comic book heroes. And again, like all this sort of stuff is what people, someone else might hear that and be like, ugh, that's so weird. That is not for me. And I'm like, cool, that's all
Yeah,
good. Because
yeah,
I respectfully don't want to work with you because these are my values. This is my core. This is who I am. You're going to get me to geek out. The amount of times like Ben has to tell me, like, has to remind me, we're at work because me and the client will go off on a tangent and he's like, we've got to actually film some content today. I'm like, oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, well, sorry, we're just like, I'm a relationship builder. I'm all about them. So I want to know everything about you. And like, I want to know your life story because I just think it's fascinating how we can all be on the same planet and live such monumentally different lives. It's
yes, all
just
this.
beautiful.
Yeah, agree, 100% agree. It's like how when you meet someone and they open a new universe of things or knowledge or groups,
Yeah.
and it's like, wow, there is another world there that I don't know. And I love this, how to me it makes a lot of sense that you are comic fans and you work on storytelling and visual storytelling, because
Yeah.
comics is so marvelous for doing that, like the transitions and the different lines and how in a paper they are changing angles of even I love graphic novels as well.
Yeah.
And for me comics were one of the big things that I, since I was a child, I loved to consume, not the hero type that much, but other types. But yeah, I love the comics and the illustration. I still love following illustrators accounts, because it feels like, oh, I wish I can do something else that not I cannot draw. But yeah, to me it's fascinating, and I feel like it makes a lot of sense because of that, how innovative storytelling angles they use, and the resources that is, how is like using the resources that you have,
Yeah.
and how to also be out of that and being able to think outside of that.
And we said as well about, you don't have to tell all your story in one go.
Yes.
So ultimately, like, break it down. Like, there is no way I'm going to sit here and spill my entire 37 years of this life here, because some of it will not be relevant. Some of it will like be miserable and would need a bit more of a trigger warning on it, but share the moments as they're happening. A great friend of ours that we met through business, she talks about sharing, Teresa Heathwarin, she talks about sharing the scar, not the wound.
Mm,
So again, like, share the story, because someone else will hear it and someone else needs to hear it and know it's going to be okay. Like, I've had people share their stories that I will not sort of downplay the fact it saved my life. Like, I've been in dark places where, because someone has been brave enough to share their scar, I've gone, if they've healed from that, I can heal from this. But
mm,
also those moments where in business, like, and that might be in life, but then in business, like, we've all had those moments in business where you think, how can I get to the end of this month? The business is over. And someone else has shared that they've been there and this is what they did. And, or multiple people have shared it. And through one of them, I've gone, that's the one, that's the route I can take. And so
mm.
I've learnt from them, added my own unique twist on it. And here we are, business is still going. And that's going to be life forever, right? We look up to our peers, we look to we look across to our peers, we look up to our mentors. Like, their stories, their brand stories of who they are is how we keep going. And know that you don't have to have one. You can rely on 10, 20, 100 stories
Yeah.
whilst making your own, and make your own, and love making your own. Don't make it a chore, because God Almighty, it's hard work, right? Like,
Mm.
life is hard. Enjoy every second of it. Like, find the fun in anything you can do, and laugh about it always.
Yeah, yeah, that's beautifully said. And to me, it's like the story of someone can be that little push that you need to take the next step in your
Hmm.
action because you see that it's possible, that there is a way to go, or even if it's not the way to go, it's like you can find your way. And that's
Yeah.
the story of someone sharing how, yeah, you can do things in your own terms, and that's okay. So it's kind of go and try yourself, do you, and find your ways. And yeah, it's like can be the inspiration for someone else. So even if it's just touching one other person, it's so powerful to think about, okay, how just sharing yourself and sharing your story can be so impactful in someone else's life,
Yeah.
or business, or so it can be so powerful to think about that from that angle. That yeah, and it's a practice, so you will get better, you will see what people react to and how to do it in a way that makes more sense for you. Yeah, you experiment. I would say experiment is my biggest thing in business, in the sense of when I go with the approach of experimenting, things it's not that I am failing or successing, it's that I am trying this and I am seeing and then decide on what to do next. So it's a for me it's like less pressure, and allow me to try things in a more fun way.
Yeah, funny enough, I said this to someone last week, and and they loved it so much they actually wrote it down and was like, "That's going in my quote, like, notes." And I was like, "Oh gosh, I didn't think it was that like deep, but okay." But ultimately, like, what I said was that I've learned most of my lessons, or all of my lessons I've learned, are from the failures I've had.
Mm.
I don't learn anything from success. If I'm succeeding, I just keep going. But if I fail, there's a reason I failed. And so I'm going to learn why I failed. I'm not going to mope in it. I might have, like, give me an hour. Okay, I'm annoyed. It didn't work. I'm allowed that. But ultimately, why did it fail? And then how can I make it better? And look at science, like, exactly what you're saying about experimenting. We don't learn through succeeding, we learn through failing. And it's from those moments that we do more, we do better, and we grow. And so, yeah, okay, failing is hard sometimes, but you're going to learn the most you learn when you actually fail. So bring on the failures, because the more I have, the more I'm succeeding as well.
Yeah, nice. So, before we finish, I always like to ask for a way to summarize that intersection that was the starting point of our conversation.
Oh
So,
gosh.
how how will we you summarize the connection between personal brand story and video podcasting?
uh, Authenticity, relationship, and growth.
Mm, love that. For me, I would say connection builders because I feel like both are a great asset for building connection in someone's business.
I love this.
Okay, so before we wrap up, how people can connect with you and learn more about what you do and how you help them, how you can help them.
Yeah, absolutely. So our business platform, business platform will probably be Instagram. So that's YVT_UK. If you want more of my personal story, I'm in competition with Ben about who can get the most followers. So check out YVT Rachel. You can find me there. I mean, if you want to follow him, fine, it's YVT Ben, but you don't. You want to come follow me, right? So you can do that. We've got our website, www.yourvideoteam.co.uk. But just reach out as well, like connect, drop us a DM. I am up for a conversation. Uh, let's find your story and let's get it out there, because you deserve to be heard. You are the hero of your brand.
Nice. Yeah, something that I always like to say is that your story is relevant and worth telling. I have
Mm.
postcard about that I share with people when I go to events. Because sometimes we think that our stories are not relevant or they are not you don't know how to articulate them. That's so my invitation is for everyone to think about one moment that is connected to why you do what you do and that shows like why it's important for you the work that you do and start there, practice, experiment, and share with us in the comments or messages about how did it go and if you get people talking about that or messaging you back. We would love to know.
Yeah.
So thank you, Rachel, for this time and your insights. It was lovely. And thank you, everyone watching. So see you next time.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.